Cuba, it's me. Welcome to episode 248 of the W.I.L.L.I.W show, which stands for Wrestling is Life. Life is Wrestling. Now, today I wanted to talk about the funny comments you get from people who are not wrestling fans. It could be your friends, your family, your coworkers, your customers, your schoolmates, whatever it be. It's so funny when you can tell when someone doesn't know anything about wrestling and they find out you're a wrestler. And they have no interest in it, but somehow they always come up. It comes up somehow, and they mention it or they say a comment. And I don't know if they just don't get it or they're just uneducated or just haters, like whatever the case. But it's the same comments all the time. Like where I work, you always get, "Oh, watch out for him. He's gonna body slam you. He's a wrestler." Like it's like, oh, for Pete's sakes. And then a lot of the times when people say wrestling, they're like, "Oh, like wrestling, like John Cena or Hulk Hogan." It's always John Cena or Hulk Hogan, and that's all they seem to know about wrestling. And then you get the silly comments. A lot of people too, like, what'd you do on the weekend? And they'll be like, "Oh, I was wrestling," and they're like, "Did you win?" It's like the most important thing to them. Did you win? Like, and then when you say yes, they're like, "Good job, congratulations," and I'm like, "Thanks, no problem. I did good." Like I just play it up. Like I love kayfabe. If they're like, "You won," and I'm like, "Oh yeah, it was tough. It was tough, but I pulled out that victory. Oh, good for you. Thank you, thank you." And you get like, you always get these two like, um, you'll come in to work after a weekend and you'll be like feeling rough or you have a big bruise somewhere or a big cut or you're limping a bit and they're like, "That's what you get for play wrestling." Or some people will be like, "When are you going to quit that fake fighting crap?" Or like, oh. And then you get the family members who are just concerned for you and they don't understand your passion and they're like, "Why do you do this to yourself? What are you thinking? Like, why can't you find something you like that doesn't just involve destroying your body?" And like people always say that kind of stuff, and it's so funny. It makes me laugh every time. Like, and then they seem to know a body slam, a pile driver, and a suplex seems to be the only moves that they ever talk about or know. They're like, "Don't make me suplex you," or like sometimes some of the young girls at work will be like, "Oh, don't make him go John Cena on your ass," and I'm like, what the heck? Like, you know one guy, so you know wrestling. Like, maybe their boyfriend watched it one time, or their parents watched it, so they caught a little bit of it. And I always find it funny. Like, sometimes like WrestleMania will come up, so they'll be like, "You gonna watch the WrestleMania this year?" Well, yeah, wrestling is life. Life is wrestling. Like you watch football every day. Are you gonna watch the Super Bowl? Like, come on now. Like, it's people are naive. They just if you don't get it, you don't get it. It's the same as me. I don't. Well, I mean, I do know a lot about stuff that I don't that I'm not interested in, but at the same time, there's some things that I'm completely out of the loop on. So I understand. And wrestlers kind of get a bad rap too, but there's some real funny comments. I'm trying to think of some more like that people will say about the wrestling. Oh, like a lot of times when they kind of think they know that it might not be what it is or that it's entertainment, they'll be like, "Does it hurt?" It's like, yes. How could you fake that? Like when someone smashes you as hard as they can in the forearm with a forearm in the chest or a chop, how do you fake that? How do you fake that when someone chops you as hard as you can? Really? Or I get a lot of people that are like, and they're really, I guess, respectful about it. They're like, "Is it really fake?" It's like, I don't know. I don't know if I should tell you. And I don't want to tell anybody because I don't want to be the one to ruin kayfabe. So I'd be like, well, sometimes some of the elements, I'm like, sometimes people will play characters that are not really them. So I'll leave it at that so they think the actual combat's real. I'm like, there's a bit of showmanship in it. That's what I'll say. Or they're like, like sometimes I'll get people like from my work and they'll come and watch the show. So now they feel like they're kind of in the inner circle, and then they'll say, "Oh, tell everybody at work, oh, Elian, he had an awesome match. You should have seen him out there. He's crazy." And then they're like, "Do you know if you're gonna win?" And I'll be like, "Oh, well, I mean, no. Like, sometimes the person that pays you would like to decide this is where you want to go in the story, but I'm like, usually it's like a quick signal from the ref or something. Like in baseball, you get the sign like, okay, don't kick out of this one. Like, I love working people because it's like I don't want to tell them the truth, but they already seem to know, so I just like kind of stretch it a little bit. But what do you guys get? Like, if you're a wrestling fan or you're involved in the wrestling business somehow, eventually it comes up in conversation with people that you see on a daily basis. So your friends, your family, your coworkers, your schoolmates, customers, whatever it may be. Or I like this one too. If someone knows that you like wrestling, anytime some kind of wrestling post comes up, you get tagged on it in Facebook. Like I get my high school friends too that it's like, "Oh, did you see these videos of this guy doing an RKO on his girlfriend in the pool? Let's tag Elian." It's like, "Oh, come on. It's come up on my social media like 50 times. I don't want to be tagged in it." But then you're kind of honored that they think of you as the wrestling guy, so you're like, you like the post. Thanks for thinking of me, kind of thing. But let's hear what you guys have to say, because as always on the W.I.L.L.I.W show, like or you get a leg drop, comment or you get a clothesline, subscribe or you get a suplex. I'm your host, Elian Habanero. I love wrestling. Cuba.